In relation to the taking of references from an applicant's past employer, which of the following statements are true? References should be an invaluable source of information concerning how a prospect normally behaves at work. References can only ever be factual. When did the person start and end working? What was their position and so on. Opinions cannot be given for fear of litigation. Now this is about the HR role, the function of HRM. Uh, Taking of references from an applicant's past employer. Which of the following statements are true? Any answer? The first one talks about references should be an invaluable source of information concerning how. What do you generally talk about in case of a reference letter? See, the first one talks about there is some invaluable source of information concerning uh, how a prospect normally behaves at work. That is kind of a conduct certificate. The second one talks about what are the beginning and ending date of working, etc. So that could be an experience certificate, not a reference letter. So between the two of them, the second one is not at all correct. The first one, when you are asking somebody to give a reference letter, that person vouches for this applicant and then says that if this employee is taken in your organization, he would behave in this particular fashion, or this is what it would be his behavior, etc. So on that note, we see one is correct. 208. Personal, this would be A is correct. Personal characteristics, qualifications, and necessary experience expected of a particular post holder are normally all found in which of the following documents? Job description, person specification, reference letter, summary appraisal, meeting record.
Option B, ma'am.
Personal specification.
Yes, ma'am.
Match the stage of the HR cycle below with the current description. Appraisal, training, development, selection are the four options given and the description is given. So for each of them, we have to identify and fill the box. Choosing the best person, maybe once if we look into the PPT, that would be better, I guess. appraisal, training, development, and selection.
And first one is selection.
I just want you to take you through. Training is a planned and systematic modification of behavior through learning events, programs, and instructions, which enable individuals to achieve the level of knowledge. So, planned and systematic modification of behavior. Development says that is the growth of or realization of a person's ability and potential through conscious or unconscious learning. That is development. Then we see selection is aimed at choosing the best person for the job from the field of candidates sourced via recruitment. Finally, appraisal. Appraisal, I think there is no note here in this PPT. So let's select. Yes, you were saying something. I'll mention here. I will record it here.
The first option is selection, ma'am.
Choosing the
Choosing
best
of
person
best.
via recruitment is selection. That's right. Good. After that, then we see systematic review and assessment of an employee's performance, potential, and training needs is appraisal. This is appraisal. Then formal learning to achieve the level of skills, knowledge, and competence to carry out the current role.
Development.
Realization of person's potential through formal and informal is training. Andrea has just attended her appraisal with her line manager. She felt that the feedback was poorly delivered and that the manager viewed it purely as a form filling exercise. Which two of the Lockett's barriers to effective appraisal may have been present here? See, there are Lockett has mentioned about four different, um, six different barriers to effective appraisal: confrontation, judgment, chat, bureaucracy, annual event, unfinished business. Now a list is given. We have to choose any two. Two here in this case of question number 210. May have been present. Some two of the six barriers may have been present here. What do you think? Andrea has just attended her appraisal with her line manager. Fine. Then she feels that the feedback was poorly delivered and the manager viewed it as purely a form filling exercise. So that is what she feels. So is it there was a chat between them or there is bureaucracy? What is bureaucracy? It has to pass through the levels of hierarchy. So that will be called as bureaucracy. But there is nothing like chat which is present here. There is no chat which is seen. Yes, the manager is the one who's taking this appraisal form, taking the feedback form for the appraisal purpose. So we see that bureaucracy is there. Confrontation, she's not accepting the decision. She's not accepting the decision that um, the manager must have filled in appropriately. She has a doubt that she feels that the feedback was not delivered properly, poorly delivered, and the manager viewed it. So she's questioning that. So a confrontation. Why is that the manager has not taken it seriously? That kind of attitude is seen here. Fine, may have been present here. The very basic fact that she is raising that issue that manager has not taken it seriously is she wants to confront that. But is there any unfinished business? No. So on that note, we see bureaucracy and confrontation in one option, which is D. So we go with D. An effective appraisal system involves assessing the personality of the appraisee, a process initiated by the manager who needs an update from the appraisee, advising on the faults of the appraisee, a participative problem solving process between the manager and the appraisee. General only you can understand.
Option A.
um, Assessing the personality of the appraisee um, is one sided. It says an effective appraisal system. There is no judgment here. Assessing the personality could be a judgment, but that would be a barrier. So it is just not assessing the personality of the appraisee, a process initiated by the manager who needs an update from the appraisee, advising on the faults of the appraisee. All of them are one sided. There is judgment involved in that. The last one says that a participative problem solving process between the manager and the appraisee is an effective one. Of course, many organizations we don't see such a thing happening. That would be one sided evaluation taken up. There is judgment also. But here it says that if it is two-way, that would be better. Which HR activity could be monitored using the KPIs of employee absenteeism and productivity? Employee absenteeism and productivity. To monitor this, which KPI would be most better? That is reward system, performance management, training and development, and motivation. Reward system. Reward system will be connected to productivity. If we are talking about productivity, efficiency, if they achieve that. What about employee absenteeism? Motivating them not to be absent. Uh, so rewards will not make them not being absent. Rewards are connected to productivity and efficiency. Next, performance management. Performance management, measuring the performance. Second, training and development. That is to enhance the skill. Training and development. Motivation, motivating them to perform well, not being absent on working days, then increasing the productivity, etc. So on that note, it would be motivation. 213. The psychological contract is a legally binding document that exists between an employer and an employee. Is this statement true or false?
False.
Did we discuss about the psychological contract? Psychological contract. We did legally binding document is what? Incentives and practices relating to motivation. One of them is psychological contract, employee involvement, workforce flexibility. If it is a legal binding document, that is a contract, not a psychological contract. A contract about the existence between employer and employee. But this is the psychological aspect of it, wherein they bond together. That is about the psychological contract. Match the type of flexible working arrangements to the correct explanation. Remote working and teleworking, flexi time, shift system, compressed week, job sharing, part time. These are flexible working arrangements. What is the explanation?
First one is technology has enabled employees to work away from the office, usually at home. Shift system is two employees share a standard hours week.
Just a second. I remember having a slide in the PPT, but I'm not able to find. I don't know whether I've done it or not. But let's check this one. Remote working and teleworking is fine. Then the first one says that working outside of normal working day patterns. So that can be taken as
Part time.
part time will be only a part of the day. It is not complete full time. It's not full time. So that is part time. So fewer hours than the standard weekly number will be part time. Less time, no? Part time. So less number of hours. Working outside of the normal working pattern is shift system. Working in shifts. Then third one is standard weekly hours within fewer days. Standard weekly hours within fewer days. Compressed week. The number of hours are the same per week. Let's say 40 hours per week, but it may not be spread over 5 days, 6 days. Earlier, when we in India, the system was to work for all 6 days. So then later on, it was made as 5 day week, 5 working days in a week. So what did they do? They have whatever was spread over 6 days was now compressed into 5 days. So earlier people used to start working at 10. Now they're starting at 9 a.m. So that is how compressed week is standard weekly hours within fewer days. Then the last one, job sharing, two employees share a standard hour week. Once again, this is remote working is working from home. Generally, usually is working from home, or otherwise, um, people can work from anywhere. Now we see many people pursuing their hobbies and also working. Now those kind of jobs are present. People are on a world tour. People are on a tour to their favorite locations, favorite places. They just travel to that place all the time, carry their workstation, the system with them. They are working throughout the day and then enjoying you in the leisure time. So that is a concept which is picking up now. Many are into that, so they need not be physically present in the office because the work can be carried out from anywhere. Remote location, remote working places also work can be carried on. So that is some of them have already catched up on that particular concept and then following that. If you do well, you can also join an organization which gives you that provision, or you can your own on your own you can start something like that and then carry your laptop wherever you want to go and then but still continue working. Flexi time, um, we didn't answer this one. Flexi time is the need to work a standard set of hours, but less restriction on when these hours are worked. Some of the organizations have that facility. So no matter when they come, but from the time they come, they can work. They have to put in whatever other prescribed number of hours. So somebody starts early in the morning at 8 and then finishes of leaves early. Somebody joins late and then finishes of the work and then leaves late. So that is flexi time. Shift system is uh, around the clock all 24 hours when it is working. Then it is made into shifts. That is one set of employees would be present during one shift. So if it is made as 8 hours a day, in a day of 24 hours, three shifts are allotted. So one set of workers leave, another set of workers come and join that, and then the work is continued. So shift system working outside of normal working day patterns. Compressed week is standard weekly hours within fewer days. Job sharing, two employees share a standard hour week. Part time is fewer hours than the standard weekly number. Which of the following is not an advantage of individual performance related pay? Advantage of individual performance related pay. Encourages teamwork, employee controllability, goal congruence, motivation.
Option A, ma'am.
A. Because teamwork and individual, they are not on the same line. So A is the answer. Complete the following sentences from the words below. Traditionally, the HR function and the finance function worked. How did they work? This is there in the slide. Interaction between these two. The modern approach to HR is to view people as one of the greatest assets of the organization, and then that HR and finance and HR should work together more closely, assisted by technology, with the people as assets as their focus. How did they work in earlier? How did these two functions work earlier? They worked independently. Now that they
Independently.
independent. Now that there is interaction between these two, one function is helping the others. So we can write it as there is no other thing with I. So we can write independently. People were regarded by finance as dash. Nowadays, people are regarded as dash. Earlier, people were regarded by finance as cost. Nowadays, people are regarded as
Assets.
assets. That's right. That's it. Did you decide on when you want to write the test? Saturday, I'm not available on and that slot of 3 to 5. So write it on Friday. 217, match the HR activity to the most appropriate KPIs. Activities are given and KPIs are given. For recruitment and selection, we have cost per employee hired, female to male ratio. Training and development, we have impact of training on existing KPIs, training feedback. Performance management, appraisals completed on time, appraisal action plan agreed and followed upon. Motivation is turnover rate, employee satisfaction scores. Reward systems are competitiveness of reward system, adherence to laws and regulations. Training and development, performance management, motivation, reward system. Training and development, impact of training on existing KPIs and training feedback. Impact of performance management. Performance management is appraisals completed on time, appraisal action plan agreed and followed upon. Appraisals completed on time, appraisal action plan agreed and followed upon. Motivation, then reward system. Motivation is employee satisfaction scores on turnover rate. Reward system is competitiveness of reward system with the competitors. The systematic review and assessment of an employee's performance, potential, and training needs describe what? I think I should have included one slide on appraisal. Appraisal part, there is nowhere it is included. Sometime back also we were looking at the meanings of each of them, the terms, what they explain, and then we couldn't do that. Systematic review and assessment of employees' performance, potential, and training is appraisal. So I think henceforth I will make a note that I should include one slide on appraisal. I missed it. 219, Alexander is reviewing a graph which is giving him an overview of the monthly performance of his team. He notices one team member is underperforming and wishes to know more details. The system lets Alexander drill down to get further details. Which type of of system is Alexander using? Um, the option to drill down to get further details. Where is it? See, there are four different types of information systems we have. The first one, decision support system, the executive information system, then decision support system, then transaction processing system, then expert system. These are the four types of management information systems. The first one is for the strategic level, wherein they take the decision. So they would require only the summarized information, but there should also be an option to drill down on the details. Okay, so that is with executive information system. The summary, when it is provided, that will help them to take the decisions. But um, the system lets Alexander drill down to get further detail is about executive information system. What sort of systems could be used to obtain specialist tax knowledge? Specialist. See, this is top management, this middle level management. Then we see that the day to day work which has to be implemented, that is transactional, transaction related, that system. Then experts who are experts in their respective field, someone who's an expert in audit work, someone who's expert in taxation work. So expert systems could be used to obtain specialist knowledge about a particular thing. That is an expert system. What is the type of knowledge that is held by people and has not been formally documented? Explicit knowledge, informal knowledge, human knowledge, tacit. I don't know how do we pronounce it. Which two of the following are advantages of remote working for the organization? Two are advantages of remote working: increased control over staff, reduced absenteeism, reduced infrastructure cost, dilution of organization culture.
Reduced infrastructure costs,
Yes, and
reduced absenteeism.
absenteeism. That's right. Why is that? I feel that I have included that, but I don't find it here anywhere. Huh. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Advantages of remote working: low infrastructure cost, increased employee motivation, helps attract retain employees, lower absenteeism and staff turnover. The next one, reduced infrastructure cost. Good. Groupware, the intranet and extranet are examples of what type of systems? That is, groupware, intranets, extranets, data warehouses, etc. are examples of knowledge management system. Knowledge management systems refer to any type of IT that helps to capture, store, retrieve, and use knowledge to enhance the knowledge management process. P company is an organization which outsources most of its functions and exists primarily as a network of contracts. Which type of organization is P company? Virtual, modular, matrix, remote, which outsource most of its functions and exhibits primarily as a network of contracts. That is a virtual organization. Virtual organization outsource most of or all functions to other organizations and simply exists as a network of contracts. Then we see Linda works as part of a virtual team. Which three of the following challenges is she likely to face? She is a part of the virtual team.
Feelings of isolation,
Feeling of isolation. Then first one is sharing knowledge with other members of her team. Um, then second one is feelings of isolation, over supervision from her line manager, cultural differences, lack of delegation. Okay, B is correct. Then sharing knowledge with other members of the team is also a challenge because there's no one there around. Okay, and they are located far away. They connected through the network, but they are not accessible, easy accessible, where they can share the knowledge. Over supervision from her land manager. So there is no supervision which is carried on at that point of time. So we do not see that over supervision from her line manager is possible. Cultural differences and then lack of delegation. Which one do you think is the most appropriate? Virtual team. And what else is a challenge she is facing?
Lack of delegation.
Yes, we can go with lack of, because it's immediately the delegation is not there. Cultural differences is also an important aspect, because they are spread over many regions, many geographically, they come from diversified field. So if they are capable, they are talented, they are skilled, they are formed into a group. They are not present at one particular place, but they belong to a team. The team is spread across many countries and many nations. So when they are interacting to carry out the work, so what do you go with? Both of them seem to be correct. So you choose which one would be most appropriate. Lack of delegation is also a challenge because there's no one there physically present. But don't you think this can be done online also, through network also? So on that weightage, which one is a likely challenge which she has to face? Dealing with people of many cultures. So that is cultural differences. 226. Paul has been given the task of ensuring his organization goes beyond compliance with technology and legislation. What is this commitment known as? Ethics, corporate social responsibility, corporate digital responsibility, sustainability.
Digital responsibility.
That's a digital responsibility. Because it is connected with technology and data legislation. So that is about corporate digital responsibility. Ethics are the moral principles which they have to follow. Corporate social responsibility is feeling a responsibility towards the society and rendering some service to the society. That's corporate social responsibility. Sustainability, using limited amount of natural resources, ensuring that they are still available for the future generations. That is sustainability. Which of the following is not a benefit of big data analytics? Improved decision making, market customization, increased security of data, product innovation. So we come to big data analytics. So big data analytics. Improved decision making is a benefit. Increased improved decision making is a benefit. Market customization, increased security of data, product innovation. Market customization and product innovation, more or less they talk about taking the requirement of the customer and then acting upon that. Market customization, making changes to suit uh, about what is prevailing in the market, right? Product innovation, taking the order from the customers and taking it up. So not a benefit of big data analytics is increased security of data, multiple sources from which the data is taken for analysis purpose, and when it is processed to obtain the result, there is a possibility of the The movement of data through a process or system is also known as what? Data flow, data outputs, data warehousing, data mining. Steel company are choosing between centralized and decentralized IS architecture. Which approach will give them greater control over their information systems? Now you have to use your judgment and then answer which one is most suitable, whether it is centralized or decentralized. Steel company are choosing between centralized and decentralized information system architecture. So, what do you think is suitable?
Centralized?
That's right. Greater control. When we are talking about control, centralized is better. But if there is, if there is decentralization, that control aspect would be missing because responsibilities are, authorities are scattered and then they are assigned to people and they have the decision making ability. To have an effective control or greater control is not a possibility there. So, centralized is the correct answer. Raj has been analyzing trends in the online reviews on social media for his organization's main product line. However, he has noticed many inconsistencies. Which of the four V's of big data may be causing this problem? Volume, variety, velocity, veracity.
Veracity?
Trends in the online review of social media for his organization's main product. He has noticed many inconsistencies. Veracity is about the genuinity, the truthfulness. Here, the data has many inconsistencies. Volume is the size, variety is from multiple sources, multiple types of data which is collected. Velocity is the speed at which the data is processed. Variety is about the authentic or genuine data which is included. But now that they are observing or noticing that there are many inconsistencies in the data which is considered. 231 in the context of home working, which of the following statements are true? Tacit knowledge is less likely to be shared. In the long run, it is a cheaper way of working from both the employee and employer point of view. It's less likely to be shared. In the long run, it is cheaper way of working from both the employee and employer point of view. Second is correct. Tacit knowledge is less likely to be shared. Both of them are correct. Okay, come to the end. Of the following control solutions, which provide the best protection against virus infection?
Option A?
Strict policies on the opening of attachments, segregation of duties, backup procedures, time. Okay. Best protection against virus. That's right. Which of the following KPIs are the best indicator of good operational efficiency of an IT function? IT spend per employee, IT utilization rates, revenue generated from new IT systems, promptness of resolution. I think that's the last question. Okay, we've answered all the questions. Here and there, one or two questions from some of the sections we've missed. Um, do you want me to repeat any topic? First, let me take that feedback. Do you want me to repeat any topic? Do you want anything from my end? How is your college level exam for this particular paper? What type of questions do you write? Is it MCQs or essay type of questions also?
Essay type of questions also, ma'am, like 16 mark questions.
Okay. So you tell me, how would you want to write a test? A simple one. I will evaluate and then let you know how did you do. That's it.
MCQs are like they'll be a bit convenient to write.
Um, this supervision also is a issue. I'm here on this end. You will have to switch on your cameras and then start writing. That is how we take the test. So one essay is given and then you keep writing and then so we can also notice how you are doing the paper. So that is for supervision sake, it is convenient to have a test for an essay type. So I was thinking about giving three or four, five marks questions so that you write the concept on your own. What do you say? Okay, let's take attendance first. I have seen Ajmal Kamaluddin attending the class. He still has to join. I think I've accepted him. the recording on hold. If you look at the syllabus from the PPT, once let's go through that. This is the role of finance function. First, we need to understand what is the role of finance function. There are three aspects of it: enables how, shapes how, and narrates how about the creation of value and preserving of the value. So, enabling takes care of planning, forecasting, resource allocation. Shapes how takes care of performance management and control, and narrates how talks about the reporting part of it. We need to have an idea about what are ethics. Ethics are the moral principles that talk about what is right and wrong, and then all the time have the right attitude in the organization, even in situations when there is no one observing them. That's called as integrity. Objectivity talks about being truthful. Professional competence and due care talks about enhancing one's skills even after being placed in a position. So they need to continue to pursue that excellence or upgrade themselves, have better knowledge, and also take care of the professional competence and due care. Then confidentiality, whatever has to be um, kept as confidential has to be maintained so, but if it is needed by the law to disclose something, they have to take it up. Other than that situation, in any other situation, once it is confidential, it has to be maintained as confidential. Professional behavior, what is the right kind of thing to be taken up in the organization is professional behavior. CSR talks about the responsibility the organization uh, has towards the society which it takes it up to serve the society either at large or at a particular section of the society. We need to understand how many stakeholders, who are the stakeholders. So stakeholders, how seriously should they be taken? There is a model given by Mendlo. He prepares a matrix and presents the response towards the stakeholders, which should be based on whether they are powerful or not and whether they are interested in the affairs of the business. So these two parameters have to be taken. So once they have high power, they should be taken seriously and should be kept satisfied. But if they don't have power, but yet sometimes they may influence others, so on that note, they also have to be kept informed. But if there is no power, no interest, the minimum effort is needed. We need to have an understanding, basic understanding about what is corporate governance. See, when there is a relationship which exists, that of a principal and agent, so that is the relationship which exists here in the organization. How well are they performing their responsibilities? See, we see that there is a company which is present, and the company is established by the capital contributed by the owners, and but they do not manage the organization, but that's managed by the board of directors and the top management. So the management acts as the agent in the capacity of agent, and management, we see them that they are agents and owners are the principal. So there exists a relationship of agency relationship, and if now they have to work in the best interest of the principal and maximize their profit. But sometimes we also see that the management is driven by their personal benefits, and then they do not put the organization objectives as first, but they look at their personal benefit. See, how do they govern the corporate is about the corporate governance. So what measures do they take to govern the corporate? Then we see the UK Corporate Governance Code sets out guidelines on. There are certain committees like see how to conduct the annual general meeting, the board of directors, who should be included in the board of, or what should be the composition, chairman and CEO, non-executive directors. Then these are the three committees which have to be formed: nominations committee, remuneration, and audit committee. These three committees are to be formed. Then the role of finance professionals to fulfill the roles. Then first we understood that what is the meaning of data and information. Collection of facts and figures is data, but once it is processed, it's called as information. So there is a framework which is given in finance function. First, the data is assembled. Then the data is processed to information, or rather we call it as assembling of information. Then that is analyzed. Then insights are drawn. These insights are used to advise, to have an influence, so that this is applied to see that there is an impact and there is an acumen. In future, a situation similar to that, this can be applied. That is acumen. Later on, the acumen was replaced with the accounting and governance and guidance and management. The initial part of the framework is taken care by the accounting and governance. As it moves forward, the impact of accounting and governance reduces, but the impact of the guidance and management increases as they move forward. Then there are certain characteristics of good information which are mentioned as accurate. That's an acronym. You have to remember that. Types of information: financial, non-financial, quantitative, quantitative, qualitative information. Then how finance connects different activities in the organization. By providing information to the others, it enables them to create and preserve value. Then by working with other functions, it shapes how, and then it works with other functions to achieve the desired organizational impact for the function, and then thus narrating how the finance creates and preserves value. So finance function works with other functions is the whole summary. The gist of the paper is about what is finance function and what is its role, or what, how does it work with other departments, or what is the interaction with the other um, functions of the business. That is what we, that's the gist of the paper. That is what we learn from this one. Then the structure part of it we have understood. The conventional structure of an organization is about a pyramid shape. The pyramid shape where we see that the top management, middle level management, and low level management. That's the conventional method. But then the organization structure is also defined by Mitzberg with 6 building blocks. The shape still remains to be the pyramid shape. The first, on the top at the pinnacle, we see that it is the ideology, then the top management, that's the strategic apex. Then, as it comes down, we see the middle line management, which takes decisions for the organization from within. But the middle line is supported with the techno structure, the technology, and the other support staff. Then, at the bottom, we see that those who are involved in implementing the plans, that is the operating force. Then he also talks about the coordinating mechanisms. There are 6 coordinating mechanisms. And then later on, he connects the organization structure and the coordinating mechanism. And then gives the, defines the structures as simple structure, machine bureaucracy, professional bureaucracy, divisionalized units, adhocracy, and innovative. After that, we see that the types of structures, when to the extreme left side, we see that this type of structure is small in size, and as it moves towards the right side, it is large in size. So the organization types are mentioned as, when it is small in size, it can be managed by the owner or a single manager or few managers. So small in size. So it's called as entrepreneur. As the size keeps increasing, we see that it is functional, wherein groups of people or employees are grouped together to take up similar tasks. Then little bigger, it is divisional structure. It splits the organization, divides them into various divisions and departments. Then matrix is a combination of a functional and divisional structure. That is such a structure is such an organization is large in size. We've understood about what is the meaning of centralized structure and decentralized structure. Centralized, the decision making ability lies at the top, but decentralized, the authority is passed on to the other levels of management to take decisions. Of course, they are also held responsible. Then we see the span of control. If it is taller, then the span of control is over few people. But if it is flattened, the span of control is on larger groups, but we see that there are fewer levels here. So that is few managerial levels, but the span of control would be wide if the hierarchy levels of hierarchy are many. Under each hierarchy, under each level, the control is limited. Then we see that the contemporary transformation of the finance function. Earlier, what was accounting and guidance? So that now that is accounting part of it is taken over by technology and automation. Then governance is taken over by finance function professionals and competencies. So that is the change what we have focused a lot and then discussed a lot, that the roles at the entry level would not be available so much henceforth because of the technology, the disruption which took place in technology. Many roles are now taken over by technology. Therefore, we would not see so many roles present there, but the people with the professional competencies and skills are needed because there is a requirement there at the middle level. So that is what is mentioned. Um, Historically, the mandate of the finance function was to focus on organizational efficiencies and to reduce cost. But now, with technology, allows machines to monitor operational cost patterns of organizational efficiency. This should be, it says that this should be looked at as an opportunity. That is, the resources which now would be available can focus on other areas, innovation and all. So it should be looked as opportunity and not as a threat. It can refocus its energy on revenue and value creation. So theoretically, it is, that is what it says. See, this is the conventional hierarchical method, hierarchical structure, where the organization is in the form of a pyramid. This is top management, middle management, and the operational level. Later on, that is changed into a segregated form. There is a segregation, or there is a split in the structure of the organization, wherein there is a concept of shared service center. The major part of the activity is carried out at a shared service center. That is, it is a part of the organization, but the work is all carried out at one particular center. So it can also be called as internal outsourcing. The work is not carried out in the premises, it is done elsewhere in one particular location. Um, Maybe all the other departments, other offices or organizations, units which are established across many places, all of them also depend on the main activity on the shared service center. Therefore, the activity is not carried out here in this place. We see that there is a split. Later on, let's quickly look at what is the shared service center. Okay, the bottom section of the segregated triangle represents the finance function activity carried out by a shared service center. The centralization of routine processing is it takes place in one particular place. Therefore, we see that that is segregated. Later on, the shape was um, changed into a diamond shape. What is this diamond shape? It indicates that the down part of it, the broad bottom, what was there earlier, which was there for the operational level where the repetitive regular work was carried on. Since that is taken over by technology, we see that this part of it is truncated. It is um, the shape has reduced, and then we see that the bottom has become kind of flat, um, narrow. The bottom has become narrow, but we see that there is a requirement at the middle, that's the middle level. The um, the middle level part of it, we see that the bulge is still there, intact. There are many roles there present, which because they, at that level decision making is what is looked into. Then the flat which was there as a pinnacle, peak reaching to the peak, now that has become flat because now the CEO will work along with the CFO. And the central bulge is due to many higher value activities now being carried out by centers of excellence. Then this diamond shape is divided into four different levels, level 1 to level 4. So we see at the bottom, these are called as smart finance factors, digital centers of excellence, strategic business partnering, senior finance team. What is outsourcing advantages, disadvantages? What is a shared service center? It is also called as an internal outsourcing. Then what does each level take up? So at the level 4, we see financial corporate reporting, management accounting, treasury management, internal audit. So you need to go through what are these functions thoroughly, because questions can be addressed at any particular function. So at the level 4, these are the functions. At the level 3, these are the functions which are taken up. Level 2 is about the strategic partnering for value, and at the level 1, we see that the head of the finance function is the chief financial officer, and it is their responsibility to lead the finance team to achieve the desired organizational impact. But along with the CEO, execute and fund strategies set by the CEO, CFOs increasingly work alongside the CEO as co-pilot in the success of the business. That's why the top part of it has become flat. Now, not one person, but we see that along with the CEO, we also see that there is a CFO there at the top. Then we see what is the impact of technology in the activities of finance professionals. So that is an alarming report given by McKinsey, which says that we see that major roles at the low level or the bottom level would be replaced with technology. So data collection 64%, data processing 69% of the work will be taken over by technology. We see that other levels also would get affected in future, but the percentage is quite small as compared to the low level. So so that is the hope. What we see that wherever the decision making has to be taken up, that is still in the hands of the employees, not with technology. Then technology affecting business and finance. So the various concepts of technology we have studied in detail. We've understood about this is the fourth industrial revolution. Cloud computing is about storing the data on an external server on the internet. As much as they use, they can pay that. So the advantages, disadvantages we've looked into. Big data, processing large volume of data and then getting results out of that. So that is more reliable because every variable under that is taken into consideration for processing. That's big data. After that, data, when it is analyzed to draw the trend, pattern, structure, style, that is called as data analytics. So collecting, organizing, and analyzing large sets of data to discover patterns and other information. After that, process automation talks about the work which is regular can be taken up by automation. So sometimes we also see that robots are used to process the work. So it is aimed at improving consistency, quality, speed while delivering cost savings. So that is the advantage of process automation. See, the commands which are built into the system, that is the robots or the machines, they carry out the work. We see that there is consistency, the quality, because consistently they produce the same thing. There would be no variation in terms of the output generated or the quality aspect of it. The speed at which the production is taken up or the work is taken up is much faster as compared to the human beings, and yet at the same time there is cost saving. How does it happen is when the output is more large in size, cost per unit comes down. So that's how cost savings will be taken up. Artificial intelligence and machine learning is um, emphasizes the creation of intelligent machines and that work and react like human beings based on the instructions which are built into the system, into the machines. The machines start acting like human beings. They try to mimic that. They take, but they are again not used at advanced, at higher levels of the hierarchy, at the middle level. But we see that there is a change happening. in certain cases, simple decisions are also taken by the machines, that is the artificial intelligence and machine learning. Then we see data visualization is a concept where the data is presented in a visually appealing manner, because when people do not understand the accounting concepts and terminology, in that case, the data which is collected has to be presented in a manner which is appealing to the user. So some of them in the top positions and the managerial positions, we see them that some of them may come from a non-accounting, non-finance background. They may not understand that terminology. So it is presented in a way in which it is visually appealing. Blockchain technology, it is a decentralized, distributed, and public ledger that is used to record transactions. So the important part of it is their security. There is nobody can tamper that or delete, modify, alter. Anything is not possible. But yet, because they are connected with the through this digital ledger, they can transact on the digital ledger, and the security is intact. The other benefits about decentralized, they need not be present at one place, but from wherever, whichever part they are, they can transact that. There's transparency, traceability, and completeness, reduced fraud risk. Internet of Things is all the smart devices with inbuilt software, and they're connected to the internet, and then these devices are used for better results. I mean, all these smart devices with built-in software connected to the internet to perform certain tasks. We call them as Internet of Things. So basically, most of them at home, which run, which are used with the help of the inbuilt commands and all. Of late, we are seeing the advertisements that Alexa is able to do everything. Switch on the AC, switch on the geyser, whatnot. Okay, so there is an inbuilt software how it has to perform, and that's connected to the internet. Okay, many things like we have cars, then doorbell security, smart meters, and thermostat, etc. These are all smart devices. So all of them together, we call that concept as Internet of Things. Next one is mobile technology. With the help of mobile, you also understand what all is possible to be achieved with the help of mobile technology. Code division multiple access is the technology that underpins mobile technology. Um, then, with the help of mobile technology, many things can be achieved. Rapid development in mobile technology has emerged at the same time as huge advances in internet technology. Um, then 3D printing is layer by layer when the manufacturing is taken up. So it allows complex parts and components to be produced cheaper, faster, and in an entirely customizable fashion. But that is called as 3D printing. Then how does the finance function uses digital technology? Now the connection of the finance, how finance is dependent on the digital technology. So what are the newer technologies? Core modernization tools and then exponential. So what are included under core modernization tools? Include cloud technology and visualization. Exponential talks about blockchain and advanced analytics. So how the finance is depending on the technology is the chapter what we understand about it. What is the concept of digital mindsets is seeing beyond individual devices or elements of digital technology, but rather looking at what impact this digital technology can have on the society and leave an impact on the organization. So that is about the digital mindset. Then what the future finance professionals, what skills should they have? About analytical skills, business acumen, judgment, people skills, and leadership. Then use of ethical technology usage, ethical ethics of technology usage. They are guided by GDPR, General Data Protection Regulations. So comply with whatever is mentioned by that. Then we see corporate digital responsibility, taking up the responsibility in terms of following the regulations laid out for those organizations following the technology. With statutory regulations and involves a commitment to protecting both customers and employees and ensuring that new technologies and data are both used productively and wisely. Now comes how data. Now we're going to look at data. Till until now the technology part. After the technology topic is introduced, what are the various uh, elements of technology, how technology and finance, that part we looked into. Now the topic moves towards how data is used in finance function and other functions. So first we need to understand about what is the data. Data, when it is provided, the increase in data and data sources through new technology. Technology improving data analysis and capability results in improved information. When information is provided, improved decisions can be taken. So that is the concept there. How data is helpful in support of sales and marketing, then operations, then after that we see how is the creation of creating value from digital assets. How is it happen? How does it happen? What are digital assets? First we have to understand anything which is not in the hard copy but in the form of a soft copy becomes a digital asset, and then that is managed with the help of digital asset management system. Digital protection. Talk about the digital protection by following the regulations given out by General Data Protection Regulations, so GDPR. Then the following are some of the features of modern organization and their approach to sound management, uh, sound data management. What should be taken up basically? Then how data can create and preserve value for organizations. So we see that there is a data strategy and planning. Certain aspects about the data strategy and planning, how it helps various stakeholders is what we have. Extraction, transformation, and loading is these are three stages. First, the data is collected, processed, or transformed, and how it is loaded, so that in future it is helpful in easy retrieval. Business intelligence is the technology driven process of analyzing business data so that useful insights can be drawn and used in uh, decisions of the organization. ETL is a component of a wider BI process. Then we have data modeling, manipulation, and analysis. Data model, it's a systematic way that allows it to be stored, retrieved, and in an effective and efficient ma- manner. That is data modeling. Manipulation is making changes so that the data can be effectively used. To manipulate the data, there should be a data manipulation language. Data insights and communication have these characteristics, the four V's about volume, velocity, variety, and veracity. These characteristics, of course, we've learned it under big data. The same are the characteristics here because it is basically about data. Then data visualization and finance function would be considered for who are the audience, what is that they are looking at, and how do they want the data to be presented. See, somebody who's well versed with understanding the accounting information, if that is not given in that particular format but in a simplified format, they may not like it. They because they would want to look at an interpretation level or certain insights drawn, such kind of information. It is not needed that it is simplified. Okay, how do they want the data? What outcome do we want? So these are the parameters which have to be taken into consideration. How the finance function interacts with operations. So first we need to understand what's the meaning of operations. This part of it was quite lengthy about the operations. So everything that starts from purchasing of material from the supplier till the finished goods are delivered to the customer. All of them is a part of the operation. So first we need to understand about the supply chain management. The main roles are given. Consider, how is the designing taken up? This is one concept which is included here. Then the supply chain management concept has to be learned. One model given by Porter about the activities. He categorized the activities as primary activities, and these primary activities can be carried on only when there are support activities, so that they can focus on adding value or maximizing the profit. Then um, how does the finance interact, or what is the interface between finance and operations? What are the areas where they would interact? That is, one is purchasing, production, service provisions. What is supply chain management? Understand that the characteristics, everything about it. There is a model given by Cousin's strategic supply beat. So there is a hub which talks about the corporate and supply strategy. This is connected to various spokes of the cycle: the organizing structure, relationships, cost benefit analysis, competencies, and performance measures. These are the parameters, or these are the spokes which are connected to the achievement of the organization strategy. Then various systems which are available, wherein material requirement planning um, has a computerized system of converting the plan into specific dates. So to meet a future date demand, how would they be planning ahead? Uh, is about material requirement planning. Material requirement planning, they are converted into specific dates, and then work is taken up on those specific dates. Material resource planning is an extension beyond making the material available, but it also includes, for example, production planning, demand forecasting, and productivity tracking. What is ERP? ERP, enterprise resource planning, is the integration of all the other integrating information from operations with that from other functions into a single system. Integration is the key point there in the ERP. So all the other systems, when they are integrated into one single system, that system is called as enterprise resource planning. That would be easy to operate, easy to retrieve the data and then use it. So because everything would be at one particular location, it is in a uniform synchronized manner. So the system which integrates all of them, or which connects all the other systems, is called as enterprise resource planning. There are four different costs of quality. Before anything happens, prevention cost. During the process, appraisal cost. After that, once the production is taken place, but yet the product is produced is a defective one, so it is a failure, uh, because it has to be reworked. It has to be reworked. Cost of reworking has to be incurred so that it can be made as saleable. So internal failure cost, then we see that the product produced is a defective one, but this time it is delivered to the customer. So the cost of repairing, maintenance, or sometimes replacing the product, etc., will be external failure cost. There are certain techniques of cost accounting which are included here to ensure that there is a quality maintained. So first one, we see that the statistical process control, controlling quality during a process. TQM and Kaizen focus on continuous improvement. TQM talks about zero defective product. Kaizen talks about continuous improvement by making small steps. Generally, the feedback is taken from the internal resources. Then Six Sigma is accepting a unit only when it is defect free. So extending the normal distribution curve until it is XPAR plus Six Sigma. So um, the chance of a defective product being included would be brought down as low as 3.4 defects in every 1 million. After that, we see lean thinking and JIT. Both of them talk about doing the right thing at the right time. Lean thinking has lean principles, certain principles based on which it is built up. It focuses on elimination of non-value adding activities. Just in time also takes up that, but it is more specific to the inventory management. Once the order is received from the customer, then only they start taking up the production activity. To produce the product, purchases have to be taken up. So it goes in the reverse direction. So we also call that as pull system. But the conventional method, inventory management method, is called as the push system, where they buy the material, push it to the production department, produce the product, push to the stores so that the uh, units can be sold. So that's a push system. There are additional costs. There are costs which are incurred under traditional costing, which is uh, the blocking of the capital on that the cost of capital is paid, and the storage cost. Now that in JIT system they don't take up anything that way, so they don't have to spend on cost of capital and also storage cost. Then reverse logistic is about the return of unwanted or surplus goods back to the organization for reuse, recycling, and disposal. Okay. What kind of a relationship is there or interface is there between SCM and finance? The CFO works with the leaders of supply chain management, and then they work together. Collaborative relationship exists between finance and supply chain management. What are the key performance indicators? That is what we have discussed. Supply chain cost per unit, etc. These things are there. Finance function activity. It's about assembling information, analyzing for insights, advising to influence, and applying for impact. How do we understand how finance function helps manage operations through the use of KPIs? Then, how finance interacts with sales and marketing. So, everything about the marketing, various terms and concepts we have learned. We've understood about the marketing planning process. So, market planning process, take up the situational analysis, understand the mission and objectives, set the marketing objectives, devise marketing strategy in terms of research, segmentation, targeting, positioning, and marketing mix. Learn these concepts so that it's easy to understand. Then implementation. At the time of implementing, they also observe whether they have implemented appropriately or were there any deviations. So there is a review which is taken up. Then the traditional marketing mix has four P's: product, place, promotion, price, and later on it was added with another three P's, which is people, processes, and physical evidence. The pricing strategies, a list of pricing strategies. Very recently, I have done, so I'm not getting into the details of the pricing strategy. Then, what are the ways of newer form of promotion? Viral, spreading that. Gorilla, specific key targets. There is an attack. Experiential, interactive, multi-sensory marketing experience. Digital, with the use of electronic media, then sending mails and then messages and then marketing. Search engine market, using the search engines um, and capturing that and then targeting them to market the products. Social media marketing, then postmodern marketing, a philosophical approach aiming to give the individual a customized experience. What is market research? What is market segment? Targeting, positioning. Please have the clarity about all these four. Then, how does it interact with sales and marketing? Marketing, advertising, pricing, market share, and KPIs. So, wherever there is a finance aspect of the marketing function, there is an interaction there. Then, what are the specific areas where business partnering may enhance is in case of product or service development, in case of product or service, life cycle and costing. So, I have explained to you about these concepts of how they are developed or what is the concept of life cycle and costing. Um, Unlocking the potential value of big data. So, using real-time data analytics provides huge opportunities for sales and marketing. So, with the help of the data which is available and the data analysis, they can approach the customer and market their products. So we have a list of key performance indicators. Then we have how the finance function interacts with HR. So various aspects of HR about what is recruitment, selection, training and development, performance management, incentives and motivation, and the reward system. So we've learned about the terms. Today also some of the questions we have answered about HR. Then the pay package should be attractive. There are basically three components: basic pay, performance related pay, and apart from the pay, there are certain other benefits. Fine. The modern approach to HR is to view people as one of the greatest assets, but earlier it was considered as cost. Now they are considered as assets. Then we have the KPIs. Final section in the syllabus was how the finance function interacts with IT. So in the IT aspect of it, we should understand what is the meaning of IS, IT, what is IT function, MIS. So IS, IT is about the hardware, IS is about both the hardware and software. What is the IT function? What is its role? MI is about the information system which is helpful to the management. So in the hierarchy, the top management is provided with executive information system, then the decision support system at the middle level, then at the operational level, transaction processing system, TPS. Then we see that the people with specific knowledge in a specific field are provided with expert system wherein about their specialized area, the information is all available there. Then we've learned about what is knowledge management system. Knowledge management system refers to any type of IT that helps to um, capture, store, retrieve, and use knowledge to enhance the knowledge management process. Um, what are the other concepts about remote working, virtual organization, virtual team? The issues about privacy and security. What are the key performance indicators? So that's the gist. We ran through the syllabus. So at one stretch, at a go, when we look into that, it doesn't look very complicated. So that's one best part of it. It's a theoretical paper, no numerical question is there. Yet it is not a very dry and boring subject. The topics are very general in nature, what you would be encountering once you join an organization. So you need to know that, you need to understand, because you have to place yourself in the organization in those positions. So this is all very useful for you in future. It is not something which is vague. It is very useful for you. And then you have to live there in the corporate with all these concepts only. So it is, don't think that it is learning for the exam, boring, dry, etc. See where would you place yourself in your organization. So how well will you handle the situation? That is what has to be looked into. Um, Study well, and then some of the topics will be repeated again in other papers also. So that part I will consider. Not all of them, but some of the topics will be repeated in your advanced level papers. So that much I can assure you. The technology gets repeated. There's certain concepts, certain models which we've learned in this paper, they get repeated. Things like that. Anything you want to say? One more thing. Are you there in the class? That also I have to look into. I was not bothered about it. Okay. Anything, any issue from your side? Anything? So we are having a test tomorrow. You take a break. Okay, tomorrow there would be no class. Take a break tomorrow, and then we'll have the test on Friday. 5 sections are there. technically speaking. So in each of these six, one 5 marks question, very generic in nature. I will give that, and then you can answer those concepts. Is that fine? Agree upon something.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.